Hi everyone, Jeri Bellini here. Welcome to the little house in Pennsylvania. Today's video is going to be, Prosperity Hens. You're probably wondering what that is, and I'll tell you about that in a second. Meanwhile, before we get started, I just wanted to welcome any new subscribers. I really appreciate you subscribing. And I also wanted to say thank you to the people that have been hanging out with me for some time now. I really do appreciate you. So if you're new here, just a little bit about the channel is that I am a 69-year-old YouTuber, and I am here to encourage and inspire you to create, to keep moving, to just play, no rules, and remember to be grateful for something each and every day. And you'll hear that at the end of every one of my videos. But you'll also hear some chatter during the videos. So I don't stick strictly to how-tos, meaning I don't say cut this, do that, blah, blah, blah. I am talking while I'm creating with you. And for me, it's a means of connection. I'm trying to connect with you. So we're getting older. Most of the people that are watching my channel, according to my analytics, are older people. And so that's really what this channel is about. It's not strictly a how-to. So if you're not okay with that, then maybe this won't be the channel for you. But if you are, I'm so glad you're here. And I want you to reach out to me if you have any comments or questions. I have my email information is down below in the description box. And I hope you enjoy spending time with me. So, we do address a lot of problems and so ups and downs of getting older. And so sometimes I'll just do a specific video just for that. So that was kind of like a little intro if you're new here. And if you've been hanging around with me for a while, you're probably going, all right, Jeri, enough. Let's get started. So we're going to make Prosperity Hens. And the first time I saw them was when I was at my granddaughter's baby shower this past summer. I had never heard of them before, never seen them. Her sister had them hanging in the corner of her living room by her front door. They were hanging from the ceiling. And I said, ooh, what is that? They're really cool. So I looked it up. I have a little thing written down here. So hens or chickens are a symbol of prosperity in India and have been for thousands of years. So people that own a flock of hens are considered to have abundance. Now, the women in northern India decided to start making them. So they used up their little scraps of cloth and beads, and they would make them. And they sell them. It's a form of income for them. You can buy them from India online if you want to support them. And I think that's a great idea. But if you want to make a set, which is what I decided to do, I'll show you how to do that. Traditionally, they are placed in a doorway to invite good fortune into the home. So you can put it by a window or a doorway or whatever. The one I saw at Gabby's sister's house hung from the ceiling, and it hung practically to the floor. It was pretty long, but you could hang it in a window. I did make kits for these, and you can make 20 hens. Now mine is about 5.5 foot long. And there's a picture, or a little video clip, I should say, at the end of the video. It was very hard to take a picture of it because it's so long. But if you did decide to buy a kit, you could make two strands with 10 hens each. So it would be like 2.5 feet. And you can hang it in a window. I am not superstitious by any means, but I just thought they were super cute. And I enjoy the thought of them hanging there and thinking. They make me think of gratitude for all I have is basically how I feel when I look at them. So, if you want to make a set, join me. I would love to have you make a set. If you do, I would love to see a picture. Send it to me. I have an email below. I would love to see it. Or post it in the Facebook group. That's enough with the blah, blah. See, that's what I mean. I can go on and on. So let's get started with this project. All right, now let's get started. If you're not buying a kit and you want to make your own, I'll show you how to do that. So you're going to start with a piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half, and you are going to sketch out whatever shape you want for your Prosperity Hen. And there's so many of them on the internet, it just boggles the mind. So you just decide what you want to do, but what I went with was something very simple. And so I have a flat bottom on mine because I just like the way it's stitched. I did start off with my original sample with a point down at the bottom, and I prefer to stitch when it's straight at the bottom. So we'll talk about that again at some point. So basically what you're going to do is draw out, so you have your fold. This way you're going to get somewhat the same shape on both sides. And you're just going to draw out something like that. Okay, something like that. So it's got a little bit of a curve here. And then I have this a little bit on an angle, and then there's a flat bottom. So you can see like that. So do that, then use a paper scissor, obviously, not your good scissors. And cut this out, okay? So now you've got it cut out. You can do one of two things. So this is a piece of heavy-duty cardboard that I got off like the back of a pad, and you're going to either take your paper template and trace it on here, or you can glue your paper template. Let's make sure we're in frame to see, because I know I have you somewhat zoomed in. You can glue your paper template to the cardboard and then cut it out. So what you're going to do, let's just pretend that I glued that down, or you can trace it. If you trace it, use a sharp pencil so you don't use a big fat marker. So you want to try to stay as accurate as you can. So then you're going to just take an X-Acto knife, and of course, I shouldn't be doing that right there. You're going to use one of these, and you're just going to very carefully cut this out, okay, with your X-Acto knife. All right, and that's that. So now let's cut these out, and you really can't lay this down and use a pencil because it's not going to show on the wool, and you can't use a marker because it's going to make a big thick thing, and it's just not going to work. So you have to just cut it out based on the template, and that's why I really like the thicker cardboard. It's very sturdy, and I'll show you a couple ways that you can cut these out now that are pretty simple. So you want to tuck into the corner, because this way you have enough room for two. See, and you still have a little left over. So tuck into the corner, but just make sure that you are, you have both of your patches laying together. Okay, so you can do that. And then what I do, the wool, it almost kind of grabs onto the cardboard. It doesn't feel like it's going to go anywhere. So I have like a method, the way I cut it. So I hold everything like this. So I've got the cloth pressed up against the cardboard, and I'm going to start over here on this side, and I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go like that, and then I'm going to go here, okay? And then the last cut is going to be here, because that's actually two cuts with the scissors. All right, so here we are. Just make sure that you've got cloth everywhere. So you're going to use a long nose. I know there's probably blades, long blades. So you can try to make one cut. You don't want to keep opening and closing like this. You don't want to do that, like what I just did. So now you're going to flip it around, and just make sure you readjust it so that you're good there in the point with your fingers. And then just have your fingers underneath the cardboard, underneath there. See that? Okay, that was almost one solid cut. And then the last cut, I have another pair here with a pointy little nose. The last cut, just want to go a little further. I can almost do right down to the center. And believe it or not, I'm going to flip it around and do it this way. Okay, now I almost never get it all the way to the center, and that's why I have this little pointy puppy right here. Okay, so I just go in and do that. And then you can just remove this, and if you want a flat bottom, just cut that little tip off. Okay, just like that. Now, another way that you can do this, let me get my cutting mat. If I had a small rotary cutter, but I don't, they make them smaller than this. But this, I did it with this rotary cutter, and it's fine. So you can lay it down. Now see, you have a lot more room here. So I'm going to back into the corner again. And because the cardboard is so thick, you can go right along the edge, almost like you do if you're cutting with a ruler, one of those plastic rulers. And my blade isn't real sharp. Okay, so now I can actually move this. I don't even have to pick. I don't have to pick this up. Okay, and now I'm going to go from that side. I mean, I could do this for you. I love you, but I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to go in from this side. Now, when I get to the crack, I'm just going to kind of like roll around to go up to the top. So I didn't get as, okay. See, it's a little more rounded there when you do it with the rotary cutter. So what? And then just take your sharp instrument and cut the bottom off if you want it like that. So I found the rotary cutter to be super fast and easy. And then do not throw these little schnivvies away. You know, if you've been following me for a while, you know I use these in my wool embroidery projects. So there you have it. Cut out your pieces. And now we can get started on the next step. So let me get rid of this stuff. So now what I did, I work assembly line. I put it on another board. And I did that with all 20 of them. And now I'm ready to stitch. Okay, so let's stitch one together. And you can see the difference. See how this is a little more rounded here, and this is more of a point. No matter. All right, now it really doesn't matter front or back because these twirl around on your thing. So let's look at how I stitch these together next. Okay, so I stitch these together in a couple of different ways. I just want the whole thing to look very primitive looking, so I'm not stitching them all together in the same exact way. So you can see this one has running stitches. This one is just a whip stitch. I really love that. I think that one's my favorite. And then this one is buttonhole stitch. Now, this was one of my original prototypes, so it's got a point down at the end. And I didn't like that for the buttonhole stitch because you see how you kind of have to go underneath the point because you can't buttonhole stitch right on the point. And you can actually pull so that's up on the top, but I don't know. You could do that. Whatever you want to do is fine. However you want to sew them together is fine. You decide. I used pearl cotton. You can use embroidery floss. You can use whatever you have on hand. And you can see that I did mine all different colors. I just wanted it to be very scrappy looking. The whole thing's going to be very scrappy. So now let's get some thread and stitch one together. All right, so we're ready. I have any kind of a stitching needle has to have a big eye to accommodate your thread. So whatever you have is fine. Whatever thread you're using will determine the size of your needle. And I'm not matching this because I want it to look scrappy. So I've got purple and I've got size 5 pearl cotton. Now I'm going to get a little piece for a nose off my red wool. So you've got red wool in your kit, or you just have something red that you're going to use for a nose. So I just make a little beak like that. And I don't put it all the way at the top because it's kind of pointy up there. So I put it down a little bit, but just make sure that you have it in enough so that it's not going to fall out. And don't worry about it if it sticks out a little bit. All right, so I have a piece of thread. It's at least 20 inches long to do just a running stitch all the way around. That's about what you'll need. You might need a little more for a different stitch, like the whip stitch or the buttonhole stitch. All right, so you open it up and you have a knot at the end of your thread. And you go in. That, you turn it over, and I do a French knot for the eyes, and I do 3 twists. So 1, 2, 3, and then I just go straight down like that. And don't worry about that sticking out. We can trim that off when we get around. You really just want to make sure that the beak is attached. It's not going to pull out, okay? So now I'm going to put the other side back on. So now we're going to put the other eye on, and we're going to do a French knot. 1, 2, 3, same thing, 3. And we're just going to go through the gold piece, and we're going to come out in between. Keep your finger on that French knot so it doesn't unravel. Okay, and now I want to really start on this side and go all the way around. So I'm just going to open this up and put my thread through so it comes back on the other side. And I'll trim that little red thing off when I get back around. All right, so now I'm going to do a running stitch. So I'm going to come up right below the beak. And when you do your stitching, you really should turn it over to see where you're going and go up and down that way, because you don't want to do this. You don't want to go down and then come back up, because the stitch in the back is going to be so tiny because the wool is so thick. So just keep stabbing, do the stab stitch. So go down, flip it over to see where you're coming out. If you want to be fairly straight. I'm not terribly worried about it, but I do check it, so I don't want to go too far in off the seam either. You get a feel for it. And just keep going all the way around. And we'll just do this together for a second. When you get down to the corner, under the tip, if you were doing buttonhole stitch, you could go straight across there like that. Because I'm doing the running stitch, I'm just going to go straight across. So I think I can do one more stitch. You be the judge. And if you were doing the whip stitch, you just whip stitch across that flat. I just found the point to make it a little more difficult to do the buttonhole and the whip. Okay, and I tried to make my stitches a halfway decent size so you could see the thread. I want to see the thread. To me, that's part of the fun of the whole thing. They're very scrappy. So now I'm just going to keep going up. You don't have to watch me do this. I'm just going to go up, and then I'm going to do something similar at the point. I'm just going to get through the point. I'm going to stop right about there, and then I'll come back and we'll do the stuffing together. Okay, I'm going to stop right about there, and I'm going to get a little bit of stuffing, not much. That feels like about right. I just want to add a little bit of dimension to this, so I'm going to stick this in here, and I can stick it down into there with my finger, but I want to stick a little bit of it back down towards the tail and up towards the head. So I'm going to use this. And I'm just pushing a little bit of it in there. And, you know, if you didn't pick up enough stuffing when you first start, you know, you can always add a little bit more. But I don't like it really thick. And if you put too much stuffing in, it's just, you're not going to be able to close it. You'll get the hang of it. So I just kind of push it down like that. And then just pinch it shut with my fingers and finish stitching it. So now that's where I would just trim this little red back. You just want to make sure you have enough in there so that it doesn't come out. And I see a little piece of purple thread. We don't want that to stick out either. These little pointies, I think they're embroidery scissors. I love them. You can get into little cracks. So now I'm just going to go all the way up. And when you get around the top of the head, you use your judgment about where you're going to put your stitches. And what I mean is up here at this point. So I like to try to get up somewhere, but not real close to the point, because then the wool will just fray. So like that. And then you can, you know, go back and stitch a little bit here if you want to. So you see on one side it looks finished, and on the other side it looks like it needs another stitch. So I'll just go in here, and I won't go in there, and I'll just put like a pretend stitch here. To make it look right on both sides. You know what I mean? All right, so I'm not going to go all the way through. I'm just going to go in through the first layer, and then I'm going to shoot my needle in here. Just make sure you don't see your needle on the other side. I don't do a knot or anything. This thing isn't going anywhere. Nobody's going to play with it. It's just going to be hanging. And then just pull on that, cut that off. If the thread still shows after you trim it off, go in and just, you know, swipe it and pull it down. And isn't it adorable? Okay, let's move on. All right, now we're going to put this whole thing together. So I just took a little piece of waxed linen and went through this little top part, and then I'm going to stick this waxed linen back under under there so that I'm just working with this loop. So now I have the nylon thread that I have, and I threaded it in a needle, and I noticed you can thread this in a regular needle, a sewing needle, but it has to be a very thin one. So just double check and make sure that the needle goes through your bead, okay, before you go any further. So here you are, one needle on my right, double threaded, and then I threaded the ends through the second needle. You're really wondering, what is she gonna do? This comes from the old bead days. All right, so now there's my bell with the little loop on it. I'm gonna go through the loop with the needle on my right. I'm going to add a bead. Okay, and now I'm gonna hold the beads. Hold on a second. I'm going to hold the bead like that so that the thread is kind of pulled to one side in the bead hole. And then I'm taking the other needle and I'm going through. So here, I'm going to go through here. It just fits. Okay. And when I pull this down, it created a loop down at the bottom. See, that's all I wanted to do is create a loop. Now I'm going to push that down, the bead, and now I'm going to tie a knot. And put a little dot of glue, some kind of good glue, on the knot. And now I'm ready to put my yo-yo on there. So now I'm just going to go into the edge of the yo-yo. And I'm going to come out at the other edge. Now just make sure you don't pierce it so you see the thread, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, and when you put the yo-yo down on top of it, it's pretty much going to cover your knot. Now, if you still have your needle threaded, go up into your yo-yo with that. And then, oh, I didn't pierce anything. Oops, it's stuck. Okay, and then cut. You're going to cut this off, right? Right there. Okay, so now we've only got this one needle with the double thread. I hope you followed that. And now we're going to put another bead. Let's pick whatever color you want. Put another bead on there. And then we're ready to put our first hen on. So just going to go up through the bottom like that, and just make sure that you didn't pierce anything because you don't want the thread to show. Okay, just like that. And you're just going to repeat the process all the way up, and you can see I'm running out of thread already because I didn't cut a really long one. So you're going to do a bead, a yo-yo, and a bead, and then another hen. Okay, now just make sure when you put your yo-yos on, you don't squish everything down because they're like that. You don't want to do that because they're real soft. So you just want to, give it enough room there. And this way the knot is kind of hidden down there and you have glue on it so it's not going to come out, and the tails are hiding in there. So now, for example, if you need to, I'm just going to back this out. So if you need to replace your thread, so you've run out of thread, just end your thread off by going down into your one of your hens and, you know, do the best you can to end it off. So what I would do is just go down in there and come back up and make a little knot. Just like that. I'm not going to do it because I'm not ready to. All right, so that's the way I would put them together. And you're just going to start another thread the same way. Well, the opposite way of ending it. So let's just grab this. So here's my new thread. So I'm just going to kind of go in here and have a knot there. And try to catch some of the fluff and then come out, you know, come out where you need to be. And just pull on it and make sure that the knot is secure. You can go back down and just grab some of the cloth a little bit if you want to be absolutely positive that it's going to stay in. And that's it. So just keep going all the way up, and then when I get them all strung, I'll come back and show you what I'm doing at the top. I hope this made sense down here. I think it's the most secure way to do this. We are at the end. This is the very last or the top hen in my strand. And so in order to hang it from something on the ceiling or on a curtain rod or something like that, you need some kind of a loop. So I put a piece of wax linen. I just tied a little knot there. And I put my needle through the loop. And now I'm going to go back into, I'm going to do the opposite of what we did to start this. So now I'm going to hold the bead so that the thread is going off to the side. I think that helps a little. And then I don't want to pierce the thread is what I'm trying to do inside the bead. So now I'm just going to pull that down. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just push your hens down and make sure that there's no gaps and where there's string showing, going all the way down. And now I'm actually going to go down into the yo-yo very carefully. And come out on the other side. And my needle is just automatically going through the next bead. It's going to come out right, yep, see where it came out right there? I find it very helpful to keep a flat nose plier handy so that I can pull things through when they get a little stuck. So just pull this down and be careful not to get yourself all tangled up. Okay. And make any adjustments if you need to at this point. Now, you can, I don't want to squish my yo-yo too much. Okay, so now you can put a knot right here. And so the way I would put a knot is I would go around and then through the loop. And get your finger out of there. And so now there's a knot there. And I have been putting a little dot of glue on my knots, and I've been using this Tombow. It's really nasty looking because it's been used and loved for so many years. This is Tombow. It says here mono liquid glue, and I really like this glue. So I just put a little dot on that knot, and then believe it or not, I'm going to go through the hen. Of course, you believe it. I'm going to go back through the hen again after I put the glue on, which I won't bother to do that on camera. And just make sure whenever you're going through your birds or your yo-yo that you're not piercing the other side. So see, when just a little tiny bit of the needle sticks out, it's really handy to have this. And that's it. And then I'm just going to cut this off. And that's not going anywhere. And this is very light. The whole thing is very light. It's not going to come out. And then I'm just going to trim this off. And call it macaroni. And I'm going to go hang it up now. And then I'll take a picture so you can see what it looks like. And I am going to hang it next to a door. I just decided this morning to hang it in my art room. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this project. And I do have kits in the shop. I'll leave a link below. And I am going to make a shop update and tell you more about what's in the kit. I didn't want to bog down the video for that. So I hope you enjoyed this. And remember to keep moving. Just play, no rules, and remember to find something to be grateful for each and every day. And you know, now I'm going to just have to pull my little gratitude journal out and say, and don't forget to write in there. I have mine right here next to me. All right, guys, love you lots. Thanks for watching. Bye. This was absolutely impossible to take a picture of, so I thought I would just hang it on the outside of my door and do a quick video so you could see all of them. And I just love the way it turned out. It was so much fun to make. It didn't really take that long. I would say a couple of nights of stitching the hens together. Putting the whole string together was not a big deal. If you decide to get a kit from me, I have 20 hens in a kit. And so you could actually make 2 of these, 10 each, and hang them in a window. And I just love the way it turned out. I think it is adorable. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me get a little close up. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll make one. I love the yo-yos. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching.